2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, you know it. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a pre-Friday celebration. The Thursday is the greatest day of the entire week. I know you know it. We know it right here on the show. And boy, do we have a lineup for you today. It is presidential debate number 2, the final one of 2020, and it's going to be a good one. Welcome into the show, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas. All over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at, however you may be watching or listening to the show. We appreciate you very, very much on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HooserReason.com. We also have the video feed now up on Parler.com and on Minds.com. Why? Because that's just awesome. So we're able to share those video feeds out there as well. You can find all of the social media at Hooser Reason, Hooser, Hooser Reason on social media. Any of the social media platforms are all there. All the same. We keep it very much in sync. That way you can find us very easily no matter where you may be. So you can find us on there. We appreciate that. Also on the website at HooserReason.com. More content, by the way, going up on the website here very soon. So stay tuned in for that one. Boy, do we have a show lined up for you today. It's going to be an interesting one today. There's going to be a couple different things that we do just a little bit different today, which is okay. Just a minute from now, we're going to play an interview. We sat down with him earlier this morning, Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th Congressional District in the great state of Ohio. We will chat with him here in a minute, and looking forward to that one. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk a little bit about the debate tonight, the battle that's about to happen, and a big fight coming up. And yes, I mean other than just the presidential debate tonight. You know as me, I'm a dork this way. I really enjoy it. About the one sport that I actually get into is the UFC and MMA fighting, and there's a really big fight coming up this weekend. And the reason I bring it up is because it could lead into some potential really, really big fights later on in the year. So I want to we're going to talk with the guy Kyle Anthony. I'm excited for him. He does a betting show regarding UFC, so we're going to chat with him in just a little bit at the bottom of the hour and kind of get a sneak peek about the fight. If you're not interested in UFC, then it's okay. Hang tight, and we'll relate it to politics as we always do. So don't you worry about that. So we'll do that at the bottom of the hour. Plus, I didn't get to it yesterday, but there is a unifying vision that Joe Biden's trying to portray in the Democrat Party. going into election time, that Donald Trump's just too divisive, that now the Democrat Party's the party that's going to be unifying, and they're the ones going to bring everybody in and sing Kumbaya and be happy hunky-dory. Is it going to work? And is it just a day late and a dollar short with so many votes already coming in all across the nation? And why is he doing that now? So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit as well. But I want to jump into it so we don't run out of time here. But Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th Congressional District of Ohio, we sat down with him earlier this morning, and this is what he had to say right here on The Voice of Reason. Congressman Bob Latta. Congressman, how are you, my friend?
Every day is a good day, my friend.
Every day is a good day. We appreciate you coming back on the show. We always love chatting with you, and we get great response every time that you're on the show. Everybody likes to hear what you're working on. Right now, you guys are taking a break from Washington, D.C., but you were back there for the last month or so, just kind of wrapping up some things, talking about some more potential COVID relief funding right now. I'm not sure where that's at. I did hear Nancy Pelosi get a little angry with some reporters when they said, have you maybe pushed the line a little too far, trying to add too much stuff into the stimulus packages with the negotiations? What's the latest from that? And have you heard anything more? Are we actually getting closer to this?
Well, first and foremost, the Democrats are playing politics with this, and this is really bad because, we're seeing the economy upticking across the country. And, we're in an election cycle, but it'd be good to see things happen right now. And what I mean that is that a lot of times the Democrats are playing politics with this. And so when I look across the country, when you think about the beginning of the year, we had a 3.5% unemployment rate. Last year, we had 1 million more jobs than we had people unemployed in this country. And, we've seen great things happening right here in Northwest, West Central Ohio. When our unemployment numbers came out in the state of Ohio the other day, 4 of the 5 lowest unemployment rates in the state are in my district. I've got one county back at 4% unemployment, another at 4.7, 4 in the 5s, and 6 in the 6% range. And so we're seeing, really great things happening. But part of it was, the Republicans, when we had control of the House, the Senate, and the President signed it, when we signed that tax bill, it really made the economy move. And with the President's work on, reducing regulations in this country, that's helped. But, when this pandemic hit and we got what they call the Paycheck Protection Program out there to make sure that small businesses, medium and large, could all keep their employees on, that it really helped. And so what we saw happen, of course, was that at the very end, we had about $130 billion that had been appropriated that had not been expended. The Democrats will not move that money out to the end of the year so we can help more businesses out there. And though, they're playing politics with this now, and these are people's jobs and livelihoods. And so first thing I want to see get done is that and we have a discharge petition in the House right now trying to get Democrats to sign on to it to get the 218 so we can actually get this money out there to these businesses that can really use it right now.
What's the holdup with it? I mean, we talked about before we got a stimulus check, we got money for small businesses. Why are they trying to include all this other garbage? I mean, I'm hearing that they're trying to include money to go down to Mexico, go down to other countries. I mean, why are we trying to include non-COVID-19 related issues into a major spending bill?
Well, again, this goes back to their $3 trillion boondoggle. Then they came out with their $2.2 trillion boondoggle. And again, when you're looking in there, what they're trying to do, they put the everything in there they can possibly think of. And, they even had some of their, there aren't too many blue dogs left on the Democrat side, but they even had some of their more moderate members saying, hey, wait a minute, we got to get a package across out here, and this isn't the way to do it. Yeah. But again, this is just typical Democrat policy right now. And unfortunately, it's not Democrat policy, it's socialist policy that they're pushing out there, and that's why I always tell folks that every election matters and every vote counts, and we got to make sure that people know what these issues are. And if anybody ever asks me what the differences are between Republicans and Democrats, if you can't rattle 5 things off in 5 seconds, there's something wrong.
Amen to that. Yeah, there's definitely some big differences going on right now. Well, hopefully we can actually get something done, whether it's going to be right before the election or directly thereafter the election. Let's talk about one of the big issues that's come up over the last week, the big story with Hunter Biden and the New York Post trying to release this information with the laptop that Rudy Giuliani, the attorney for President Donald Trump, has, and the media completely blowing it off, to the point where they say it's just it's fake news, it's not a real laptop, even to the point where social media banned this post from actually being allowed on social media. And with this big tech issue, now they're being subpoenaed to actually come to Congress to testify, to talk about this, because they're censoring actual news. You've been working on as well, calling for big tech to testify before the Energy and Commerce Committee as well. Talk about the latest with this. What can we do with big tech censoring not only political opinion, but censoring actual factual stories that they don't allow on social media?
Well, this goes back to what they call Section 230. I'm the ranking Republican on the Telecommunications Subcommittee on Energy and Commerce. And Section 230 is what was out there right now. Is what they call it the sword and the shield. It's to give these platforms, your Twitter, your Google, et cetera, Facebook, the ability to say that, wait a minute, we've got to be careful about not letting something up out there, especially when we're looking at Twitter or Facebook. If it was obscene or something like that, it gives them the ability to take it down and then to protect them afterwards from having done it. But what we've seen happening over the last several years, and we can go back to on committee, Marsha Blackburn, who's now a senator from Tennessee, we sat next to each other on committee, and she'd put out a tweet that they had taken down. And it's like all of a sudden now, if you're on the conservative side, they oddly enough, it seems that you don't hear them on the liberal side going down, but it's on the conservative side of these being taken down. And so we want to, especially what we saw happen with the whole issue with Hunter Biden and this whole issue about the laptop, and that the New York Post had come out with, and all of a sudden they won't even let that up to be distributed across social media, that we're saying that we need to have these individuals from these corporations subpoenaed if they don't come in on their own volition. They have them before us in committee, because, again, this is not what the intent of Section 230 was. It's not to be out there to censor political thought or political information. This is absolutely goes against the grain of what we stand for in this country.
Yeah, it really is. And it's a hard position for us to be in. I mean, especially as conservatives, we don't like necessarily government solving issues or taking over certain industries, especially when it comes to internet freedom and big tech, because some say, well, you know what, it's their choice, their social media, they can choose what they want to do. But there's a difference between being a news provider and just a social media networking company, to where you're allowed to share information across the board. And when they begin to become almost a news publisher, saying what's allowed and what's not allowed, when most people today, which is a weird thing to even think about, actually get their information and get their news on these social media sites, there's got to be some type of censoring. They cannot sit there and get government money for being a social networking site, but then also turn around and be a publisher to decide what's allowed and what's not allowed on their social media sites. To me, that's just unfair.
Well, and it goes against, on the First Amendment, and, that we all hold so dear, that, you see on these sites, it's just like, well, we'll figure that out for you. And I said, wait a minute, folks, that's not the way it works. Which also ties in, with the story that came out yesterday about interference from foreign governments meddling again in the election cycle. I've been warning people, and you bring up the whole thing about so many people just getting their information off of a social media site. And I told people, you've got to vet this stuff. You've got to go out and find extra sources. If you find something that you think, wow, but I've never heard this from anybody else, you might want to check it. Yeah. Because sometimes it's not coming from where you think it is. And we know that Iran out there is meddling. The Communist Chinese, the Russians are all out there, and they're trying to influence and interfere in our election cycle. So Americans have got to be on their guard. They've got to check their sources. And I know years ago in my office, one of my staff members said, hey, we found this great story, and it was kind of like too good to be true. And I said, find me another source on that, and they never could. And so people have got to be very, very careful out there where they're getting their information from. I know I had a constituent tell me about a year or so back that he'd found this new TV channel on cable. And he said it was really interesting. He thought it was really informative. And I said, which one was that? And he said, well, it had letters. I said, well, they all have letters. And he said, well, it's only two. And it dawned on him. He said, it wasn't RT, was it? And he said, that's it. I said, that's Russian television, and that's propaganda for the Russians. Yeah. And people just are not on their guard to understand this.
That's it, Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th Congressional District. Now, here's the best part. We were only able to play about 8-9 minutes of that interview. We sat down with him for over 20 minutes on the show when we recorded that. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload the rest of that onto the podcast. So after the show today, when the podcast of the regular show goes up, we're going to do a special feature, which seems to be very popular with a lot of the listeners, is to get that additional content, the behind-the-scenes content, the stuff that we don't get to normally air. We're going to put that up as a special feature of the Voice of Reason on the podcast, so make sure to go to HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast also on any of your favorite podcasting sites, and you can listen to the rest of that interview with Congressman Bob Latta. And it's some really juicy stuff, too. We talk about the Supreme Court with potentially Joe Biden packing the courts, as we talk about the upcoming election and voter interference and election interference from those other countries, along with his campaign in the 5th District of Ohio as well, coming up to election season. So, again, you can find it on the podcasting. Go to HooserReason.com as well to find the podcast site. And you'll get today, after the show, you'll get the special feature of listening to the rest of that interview with Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th Congressional District. So, all right, that's my little plug for that one. We'll do that when we come back. When we come back, I want to get your thoughts. The debate tonight, what's it going to look like? We have a lot of information coming out. Donald Trump saying he's changing his tone, changing his strategy for this debate, plus a special guest appearance at the debate tonight as well. He's kind of pulling an old hat trick from the 2016 election that may not go over well with the Bidens. We'll do that when we come back. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be, however you may be watching or listening. We appreciate you very much. All over the place on social media. We do, as a reminder as well, have the video stream up on parlerandminds.com now, along with Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and the website at HooserReason.com. Welcome to it. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Do we cover too much on the air? Do we try to cram too much into an hour of content? I mean, maybe we should focus on one thing and talk about it a little more in depth than trying to quick hit a lot of different things. It's just hard. We're going to have to expand this and actually do multiple hours because it's really difficult to try and get as much on the air as we try to in this 1 hour. Again, the fastest hour of radio, fastest hour of talk radio. I don't care what any other talk show host says. Welcome back into the show. The debate tonight. So there has been criticism that the moderator, Kristen Welker, is biased. Donald Trump said that she was biased. The campaign has been going out saying that she's been biased, and she's denied it, although, according to thesun.com, she's been accused of a history of anti-Trump activism. Shocker. I wonder if we're ever going to get someone that's actually not biased when it comes to a presidential debate. I mean, you would think it during a presidential debate committee, an actual committee that's set specifically for just presidential debates. That's all they do. Just a panel of people saying, all right, you know what? We're going to set up 3 or 4 debates. We're going to make them go here. We're going to have this moderator. We're going to ask them these questions or have these topics. I don't think they actually ask these specific questions, do they? But they do ask. They do say we want to do maybe general topics, or this is off limits, or this is okay. And usually that would be a very unbiased, very easy job. And I think it's elected officials. I think it's some other people that have influence in some way, shape, or form. But they would usually say, you know what, let's find an unbiased person. And by the way, when we look for an unbiased person, we should maybe do a little bit of a background check. We should maybe look at their history, maybe check them out on social media, maybe see who they associate themselves with. And you would think it would be very easy to find someone who is absolutely unbiased. I mean, even if they came up and they said, you know what, Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, we want you to host a presidential debate, moderate a presidential debate. I would take that as, first off, as a badge of honor to be like, wow, okay, cool. You know, I've hosted many debates before for governor's races, for congressmen and women, for local races, for county commission, all the way up to state officials and even national officials. I mean, I hosted one earlier this year for the primaries for the U.S. Senate race here in Kansas that's going to be open in the Republicans, and it was an honor to do so. And when I do it, it doesn't matter what my opinions are. It doesn't matter what my beliefs are in any way, shape, or form. Those go out the window. You ask questions that all the candidates can answer. You don't necessarily tailor them specific to a candidate. Be like, you said this. Now what? I mean, maybe you could say, you know what, your record is this. You say you want to do this. How do you combat those two? Maybe they're conflicting a little bit. Can you clear that up for us? And then whether you agree with their answer or you disagree with their answer, it doesn't matter. You say, okay. And then you move on, and you let the viewers decide on whether they actually like the answer or not. Some of them will say, I've gotten heat for that. Some people will be like, Andy, you didn't call them out on that. They lied. They completely manipulated. They didn't answer the question. They completely curbed your question. They didn't answer it. It's not my place. It's not my place as a moderator to say you didn't answer the question, or you know what, that's a lie because you voted for this and that you're advocating for this. That's not my place as a moderator. And I'm hoping this lady does that, but with the having a history of quote-unquote anti-Trump activism in her record, I'm highly doubtful that she's going to do that. Now, they have been saying, well, the moderator's not going to fact-check the candidates while on the debate stage. So that means they're going to call out Donald Trump and say things, and then they're going to call out Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's going to say the most absurd, ridiculous, stupid things. He's going to lie his face off because that's what he can do without actually showing his record on the lack of what he's done over the last 47 years in office, and then they're not going to call him out on it. Be like, actually, that's not true in any way, shape, or form. That's not even close to relevant and true. But that comes down to you and I again, just saying, all right, we understand he's lying. We know that. Next! Because that's what he's going to do. We'll cover some more of this when we come back here. Plus, I want to shift gears just a little bit when we come back, get your thoughts on the upcoming debate and more here on The Voice of Reason for a Thursday. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason.
You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, you are. Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, rocking right here on the program, radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be. We appreciate you on all the social media. Again, I'm so excited that we were able to find out how to get this video stream onto parlerandminds.com. That's pretty awesome. Also, you can visit us online at HooserReason.com. Make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. We are almost to the end of the month again already. Crazy! Which means we have another newsletter at the beginning of the month. To make sure to become a Hoosier-holic, just go online to HooserReason.com. You'll see the pop-up say, do you want to become a Hoosier-holic? You say, heck yeah, I do. Type in your email, totally free. We're not going to spam you all the time. We'll just send you a monthly newsletter and all the goodies going on with the show, with the network, with the Hooser Media Network, and all that jazz. So welcome into the program. We are getting set for a major, major fight. And yes, of course, I am talking about the presidential debate tonight. Ha! See what we did there? That's a funny. That's what we call a funny. Joe Biden, of course, trying to hang in there. Donald Trump saying he's going to bring a different strategy to the debate. And Joe Biden, let's check in with you, buddy. How you feeling? Feeling good? You've been staying home for the last couple of days, resting up.
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
I'm sure he's tired of me picking on him.
Come on, man.
I know. That's all right. But there is a major fight going on other than just the presidential debate. And I figured for just a moment, we'll get back to the debate in just a second, but for just a moment, I want to have a little fun. As you know, and I said this just a few days ago, that boys play the NFL as they kneel for the national anthem and kneel for the flag. Boys play the NFL, men fight in the UFC. As I don't follow many sports, but there is one that I do thoroughly enjoy because it is more raw, it's more passionate, it's more intense, and it's like the good old days when we used to, be the Aztecs down in South America kicking the skulls of their enemies in their soccer games. And that's kind of the way it used to be, and this is like the closest you're going to get to it. Not to mention, many of the UFC players are very conservative, and not only conservative, but very much Trump supporters. And we played the clip from Jorge Masvidal just a few days ago, the Cuban-American that is pitching for Donald Trump because of where he came from.
I'm going to let you in on something. The Democrats just think that they're entitled to the Latino vote. They think that we just have to hand it over to them. That's right. We sure as hell don't. You know what else is not going to work for them? Playing Despacito on your cell phone to pander to us. Hell no. You got to give us some credit for having heads on our shoulders. We either re-elect President Trump and keep America great. Amen. Or we let Joe Biden destroy the greatest country the world has ever seen. I've always seen things through a sports lens. That makes Donald Trump our head coach. And before the global pandemic, we were winning Super Bowls. And when you're winning Super Bowls, you don't fire the coach. Doesn't matter if you don't like the plays he runs, the players he puts on the field, or what he says on Twitter. You sure as hell don't replace him for another coach that's been in the business for 47 years at every level and never won a game.
See, that just makes me happy. That was Jorge Masvidal, which I've never been a huge fan, but now I'm kind of warming up to the guy. And to talk about it, there's actually a major fight going on this weekend, which I am dying to see because I think this is going to lead to something really, really cool. So we're going to step away from the politics for just a second, and we're going to have a little fun with this, and I'm excited to have on the phone with us here. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Anthony UFC. It's Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show with Wager Talk on there. Kyle Anthony's hanging out with us here on the line. Kyle, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good. How you doing today? I feel pretty good. I feel like this is big weekend and there's big politics, so it all kind of blends together.
It does. It's awesome. We got great politics going on. We have a great fight going on, and I foresaw this fight coming up. And for those that don't follow UFC, there's a big fight coming up with what weight class is it? Is it the featherweight?
It's the lightweight.
The lightweights. It's Khabib Nurmagomedov, which I have to admit, I'm not a fan because he beat Conor McGregor, which I have to admit full-heartedly, I am a fanboy of Conor McGregor. But it's Khabib Nurmagomedov, and it is Justin Gaethje, who's kind of coming up to be my new favorite guy to follow since Conor's kind of retired and stepped aside for a while. But this is a major fight. Justin Gaethje just came off a big victory against Tony Ferguson just a couple months ago, which was a huge fight. And I'm still speculating this fight's going to lead up to a rematch of some type, or Conor McGregor potentially beating or fighting the winner of this one. But let's talk about this fight at first. Both of these guys are major wrestlers. Both of these guys are, Khabib's undefeated. Justin Gaethje's just a brute that goes in there to really fight and just mess people up and just, get all bloodied as much as he possibly can. Your predictions on this one? Who's going to come out victorious on this guy?
This is as you're saying, an intriguing fight, and just kind of the way these two kind of come together. And you've got Khabib on the one side that just mauls people, is able to get you down, wrestle you, kind of beat you up, and Gaethje's knocked out 4 guys straight and has looked impressive. And really the big thing with these two guys is you got Gaethje, who can he just keep it standing? That's kind of the big storyline. Like, can he just keep it standing? And the counter wrestling at him. And I like Khabib. I mean, it's hard to go against a guy who's 28-0, who has maybe lost about 3 rounds in his entire UFC career. It's just tough to go against it. But they're kind of saying Gaethje's the kryptonite. He's the guy that can really kind of go in there, blast you, and keep moving forward. And I just I don't see that happening in this spot. It's going to be a very, very interesting fight. But I think Khabib's going to get on him, wrestle him, bring him to the ground. And I think, if there were fans there, which would have been a really great thing, obviously we're dealing with what we're dealing with in all sports, but it really would be great to see kind of how the fans kind of interact with this and how much energy would be in the stadium to see these two fight. But I think Khabib retains his title. I think he goes out there and he wrestles him.
Interesting. That's going to be really interesting. Now, I wish a lot of more people could actually go and see this. This is going to be in Abu Dhabi. They had their press conference a couple of days ago, and I was curious to see kind of the social distancing and all that other garbage, what they're going to do. So I'm curious. And you're right. I think Khabib's going to take him down to the ground. Gaethje, though, I mean, he's a Division I Olympic wrestler, so they both have some great wrestling experience. Do you think the majority of this fight's going to be on the ground?
Yeah, and that is, again, the storyline is really that. And a lot of people who do believe that Gaethje can win, the big thing is they're saying that, he does have the credentials from the past, but we've just not seen him do it in the UFC, wrestle, and he never has really needed to. I guess you can kind of go that way because he went out there, he's knocked guys out, but he has never done it. So now you're facing the top of the mountain wrestler. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a back and forth. I think they're really going to be scrambling a lot because Khabib is relentless with the takedown. So I think it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be on the ground, and a lot of it's going to be kind of Gaethje backpedaling up against the fence, trying to find space, because that's going to be, your back is up against the fence and you've got Khabib in front of you. 10 times out of 10 you're going down. So, or he's just going to keep going until you're down. So I think it's going to be mostly a ground fight. But it's going to be really a chess match between how, both of these skill sets and kind of how they work together.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to go the full 5 rounds? Do you think it's going to end early?
Yeah, and that's why I think a lot of people kind of look at Gaethje because, this fight could end early. I think it actually could go the distance, which is actually, more of the long shot play, just because, again, kind of that. Gaethje has had guys who want to just stand and toe-to-toe, where you're not going to get that here. It's going to be a lot of scrambling. It's going to be a lot of, on the mat, getting back up, some striking, more grappling, more to the ground. So I think that kind of brings it to, I think we'll see 5 rounds, and I think that's where Khabib will get the victory in the decision.
That's going to be really interesting. We're talking with Kyle Anthony. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Anthony UFC. It's Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. Taking a break from politics for just a second as we get geared up for a big fight tonight with the debate, getting ready for another big fight going on this weekend. Now, I got to make my pitch to you and see what you think of this. But as I mentioned, I'm a major Conor McGregor fan. He's the one that really brought me into the UFC area in the world, and I never really paid attention to it until I followed Conor McGregor. I loved his style. I loved his attitude. I loved his just entertainment value that he brought to the fight. And he lost to Khabib, unfortunately, which I was very, very angry that night. But Khabib's coach did say, even with Conor admitting that he didn't train very hard, that he was drinking a lot with his new whiskey that just came out at that time, that he didn't really pay attention to it because he was more in the promotional and business mindset at that time. Even with all of that, Khabib's coach did say that Conor was one of the more tougher opponents that Khabib had faced so far. Do you think that there's a potential for Conor to face Khabib if Khabib wins this one again? And do you think the outcome of it could be different next time?
Yeah, and I think definitely. I think and I did actually pick Khabib to win that fight, but I definitely was believing that coming off of the Mayweather fight, coming off of making, $100 million, and he kind of just said, I'm going to kind of parlay this all into businesses, and then he had this whiskey that just skyrocketed, and then he had a clothing line, and he went from, kind of just, doing very, very well. Obviously, he was, a big pay-per-view follow, and then he just all of a sudden comes into, $100 million. So I think his focus wasn't really on Khabib at that point. He knew it was another huge payday. I don't, there were pictures of him still going out, and stuff leading up to the fight, and where Khabib just was kind of focused. So I think if the fight happens again, I do think Khabib would win, but I also think it would be a lot more closer. It was pretty much that whole fight was really Khabib just kind of mauling him, taking to the ground, and what he does to pretty much everybody. So it's not like it just happened to Conor. It happens to everybody. But the fact that Conor has such good striking, he's got such a powerful left hand, he's got good cage movement. I think that you've seen him so much better in other bouts compared to that one, and not just because he got taken to the ground, but just because he was not training. So I think that a little bit too much whiskey might have been the problem there.
Well, that happens to us Irishmen. What can we say? But the Irishman will rise again, and it'll happen. It's Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. Find him on Twitter at Kyle Anthony UFC. Brother, I appreciate it. We got to get you back on whenever there's a big fight. I'd love to get you on, especially when Conor comes back, because that Poirier fight, I think, in January is going to be an amazing one. So I'd love to chat with you on that one. And we'll see. Maybe he'll sign another 3 or 4 fight contract and actually stick it to it next time. So we'd love to do that. But this one's going to be a great one this weekend. Until then, Kyle, I appreciate it, brother. We'll get you back on and talk again soon.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. It's a good time right there. Taking a break from now, see, the biggest fight is going to be, of course, this one coming up tonight with the presidential debate, which we'll get into when we come back here, wrapping up the program. But if you want some entertainment this weekend, that's one for you right there. Stay tuned. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out. One more segment with us today goes by way too fast. I'm getting some mixed reviews on having someone talk about UFC on the show. Andy, it's a political show. We want to hear about politics. There's a lot of politics going on. Of course there's a lot of politics going on. There's two reasons why I brought on a UFC expert today. There's two reasons. Number one, because it's my show, and I want to do that, and that's what entertains me, and that's outside of politics. That's the one thing that I kind of enjoy. So, take that. Number two, though, there's a reason why I brought him on, is because I want to support industries, I want to support business, I want to support sporting events, I want to support things that we agree with, that we align with. When you purchase products, do you purchase them from a company that hates your agenda and that wants to donate your proceeds to a political agenda against you, or do you want to support somebody that actually is somewhat in line with you? what we do in our daily activities nowadays, every action that we take, everybody that we support, everything that we view, everything that we watch, everything that we share, everything that we network or talk about or spread messages to is all, unfortunately, political. And there's an agenda on whether it's helping your agenda or hurting your agenda. If you're purchasing things and going to an NFL game and they're taking your money and then kneeling for the national anthem, I'm not going to support that. I don't like that. I haven't watched an NFL game in years. I'm not going to support that. That's why I still like sports, but that's why I want to support a sport that actually spreads something that is positive. And I think we should go out and do something like that, right? Even if you're not a big UFC fan, that's fine. But understand the UFC is about one of the only sports out there that is openly and actively relatively conservative. Dana White, the owner, went and spoke at the Republican National Convention, and it was phenomenal. He's a huge Trump supporter, a major solid conservative. We have numerous fighters, as we played some of the audio with, that are major Trump supporters because they understand life. They understand the hard work. They understand that it's on you and you alone. You can't blame a team for messing up. You can't blame the company. You can't say that you're a slave to the corporation or to the team or to the company or to the corporation, like certain King LeBron James has done throughout his NBA career, or you can't kneel for the national anthem because they are prideful. If you ever watch some of these UFC fighters, they are absolutely prideful out of their minds with their flag, with their nation, with their heritage, with who they are, with where they came from. And I love it. I love the pride that's still there. And that's why I want to support them, because the UFC as a company is very conservative. And I think that's a great job. And I think that as conservatives for us, we should find places and ways to support other companies and other places that support the same things that we do. And overall, the UFC, I think, majoritively does. So that's why I do it, other than the fact that it's just my show and I want to do what I want to do. So, there you go. Hopefully you liked it, though. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And we're not going to do it, obviously, a whole lot. But every once in a while, we'll have a little fun with it. So Joe Biden is doing something a little bit different.
There's only one America. No Democratic rivers. No Republican mountains, just this great land and all that's possible on it with a fresh start. Cures we can find, futures we can shape, work to reward, dignity to protect. There is so much we can do if we choose to take on problems and not each other. And choose a president who brings out our best. Joe Biden doesn't need everyone in this country to always agree. Just to agree, we all love this country. And go from there.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
All right, there it is. Sam Elliott, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? I liked you so much. And now your awesome pipes had to be used for something like Joe Biden. Why? Now, it's very interesting, the vision that he went with there, the unifying. We love America. We disagree sometimes, but we love America. The unifying message, bringing everybody together, holding hands, singing Kumbaya. The message that, oh, that's right, the Republican National Committee dominated during the RNC conventions just a couple months ago, that the Democrats have been trying to spew the hatred and division and saying how one group is bad and the other group is so good, how they've created the civil unrest in this nation day after day after day. And now they realize that Joe Biden is losing in the polls. They're losing the minority votes for the Hispanic and the African-American votes all over the nation. They're desperate to get that back. So what do? They bring in the man with the voice. And they talk about unifying. Is that the message you're going to hear tonight at the debate? It's going to be interesting to see, but I hurt a little bit after hearing Sam Elliott voice that for Joe Biden. It hurts just a little bit right here. We'll see what that debate has in store for us tonight. Looking forward to talk about it tomorrow. I want to hear your thoughts. You can email me, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts on how you think this debate's going to pan out. Is Donald Trump is taking a different tactic? Joe Biden going to try and just survive after sleeping in his basement for the last 4 days just to build up the energy to show up? And that does it for us today here on the show. Podcast going up in a little bit. Also, the special featured podcast with the extended interview with Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th District of Ohio. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Have a great Thursday evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.